full-blown Israel versus Iran conflict. Iranian missiles torch Israel's Haifa. Another top Iranian commander killed in the strikes. Meanwhile, India begins mission evacuation from Iran. Netanyahu issues a big warning to Iran against Khamenei. The West Asia war is our top focus, only on 5 Live. Good evening and welcome to 5 Live. I'm Pooja Shali. Stay tuned because now we will bring you rolling coverage of what's happening in West Asia region. Non-stop developments coming in. Israel and Iran are trading strikes. It's leading to not only damage of buildings, properties, facilities, but casualties as well. I have all the details and especially what Indian mission is up to with regard to the evacuation. First, the headlines. The top story coming in, US President Donald Trump has left G7 summit midway, but also has issued a big warning. He's asking people to leave Tehran immediately. What is that the US is aware about that the rest of the world is still wondering about? White House war room awaits Donald Trump. Meanwhile, India's massive evacuation drive has started, especially the medical students who have been taken to safety. About 110 students studying in medical and religious colleges escorted into Armenia from land border. Talking about the G7 summit, Prime Minister Modi has landed in Canada's Calgary. Prime Minister will be leading India's voice at the summit. PM Modi will be holding talks with Canada, France, Italy. USA, of course, Donald Trump is not there, so that bilateral will not happen. In other developments coming in, we all remember the Air India crash. That's the latest visual on your screen. Scary images of the aftermath of the aircraft crash. You can see students jumping to safety from the hostels nearby. A technical snag has grounded at least 4 Air India aircrafts in the past 24 hours. In the latest Air India Ahmedabad-London flight, Delhi-Paris flight and London-Amritsar flights have been impacted. Top news that's coming in. 2 loud explosions have been heard in Tehran. This is as per the news reports that are coming in. I'm quoting from the AFP report. 2 loud explosions in Tehran. Israeli military official has confirmed that Iranian military leadership is on the run. Now, this is what, of course, the Israeli military is claiming. But they are saying Iranian military is on the run. What does it mean? Remember, there have been at least 3 top commanders of the IRGC who've been neutralized in Israel's precise strikes into Iranian territory. We are trying to ascertain further what is precisely happening because remember, has there been targeted attacks in the vicinity of nuclear facilities, oil refineries, pipelines and more as well. According to the Israeli military official, we are told that they've said we do not want to cause any nuclear disaster with our strikes on Iran. However, their targets are very specific and with a threat coming in against even Khamenei through Israel. Does this mean that the escalation is going to come in the next few hours in itself? But what precisely are we expecting on the ground? Pranay Upadhyay, our editor, India Today Global, joins me on the 5 Live for the latest on that. Pranay, what is the latest that you hear about the strikes, the aftermath, especially in Iran?
Pooja, there is an intensification of this conflict between Iran and Israel. The reports which are coming in from Tehran clearly indicates that there have been two huge blasts who have been being reported from Tehran. We do not know the exact specification of these blasts, that what damage they have caused as yet, because there is no confirmation from Tehran as yet. But yes, the Israeli side has also confirmed just a while ago that they have been carrying out the airstrikes on the Iranian territory. Their aircrafts are flying and clearly clearly dominating the Iranian airspace. While on the other side, we have heard the statement coming from the Iranian IRGC chief saying that there will be escalation in air-to-air missile firing from Iran to Israel. So this is actually an intensification of conflict at a time when the President Donald Trump is back in Washington, in White House, and he has also indicated that he'll be going into a huddle in his Situation Room with the senior commanders, and he did not rule out US joining this conflict. However, there is no confirmation either whether US would want to join this conflict alongside the Israel. But yes, there is an augmentation of the US forces in the region, especially in the CENTCOM area.
That's a big question because America, of course, like the European nations, have expressed complete support to Israel. But does that mean diplomatic, political support? Does that mean military support as well? If the military gets involved with another country, that's going to be huge development. So we'll be tracking that and more. Pranay, I request you to stay on because there's been a statement that's come in from Donald Trump. What is the latest statement from the US president? From Canada, he decided to cut short his visit at the G7 summit, headed back to Washington. Here's what Donald Trump has said. Taking to his social media platform, Truth Social, Donald Trump has posted, and I quote him here, "I have not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape or form. Highly fabricated fake news. If they want to talk, they know how to reach me." There's definitely a certain posturing coming in that I'm not desperate to talk to Iran. Remember, Iran and USA have been known arch rivals for decades now. Donald Trump says they should have taken the deal that was on the table, would have saved a lot of lives. What does this mean? Does this mean the USA is referring to, signaling, hinting about the days to come? USA President said they should have taken the deal that was on the table. Is this a reference to the nuclear deal, the disarmament that USA expects from Iran? Then Trump says would have saved a lot of lives if Iran would have picked up the deal. He's very categorically said it's not about the ceasefire. Something big is going to happen. Now, what's interesting is, and let's listen in first to what Donald Trump has said on previous occasions as well. On this issue itself, several times Donald Trump has spoken up.
President, any statement on why you're leaving the G7 early for Washington?
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. He did a fantastic job. Thank you in Canada. But you probably see what I see, and I have to be back as soon as I can. I'm going to have dinner with these wonderful leaders, and then I get on the plane. I have to be back early.
Have you talked about national security?
I've spoken to everybody.
What will you say?
Israel is doing very well, as you probably noticed, and I gave Iran 60 days, and they said no, and the 61st you saw what happened. Day 61. So I'm in constant touch, and as I've been saying, I think a deal will be signed, or something will happen, but a deal will be signed. And I think Iran is foolish not to sign one. Iran basically is at the negotiating table. They want to make a deal. And as soon as I leave here, we're going to be doing something. But I have to leave here. I have, this commitment. I have a lot of commitments. I have a commitment to a lot of countries. I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran. And we're well on our way to making sure that happens. They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days. And on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal. And it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
It's the fifth day of the escalated conflict. This is a direct confrontation between Iran and Israel and shows no signs of slowing down. It's a fierce face-off that's escalated, but what I want to tell you about is what's happening with regard to Iranian skies, how Israel has intensified the offensive, and in the backdrop of the claims from Israel that they have now also killed Ali Shadmani, who's Iran's armed forces chief of staff. What does that mean? Why is Israel going after Iranian military chiefs? Here in this report.
The worst war to engulf West Asia.
Iran and Israel continue to pound each other with ferocious firepower in an escalating conflict. The Israeli Air Force is continuing to strike Iran's military targets, including its nuclear and missile sites, with deadly precision. Latest images released by Israel showed strikes on F-14 fighter jets in a Tehran airport, apart from strikes on trucks containing weapons and launchers on the way to Tehran. Israel also hit a truck carrying surface-to-air launchers on the main route between Tehran and Qom. Israel dealt another deadly blow to Iran when it claimed it had killed Iran's top military chief, Ali Shadmani, in an overnight strike. Shadmani is said to be the closest figure to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. His predecessor, Hossein Salami, was killed just days ago by Israel in a similar strike.
Tonight, following accurate intelligence received by the intelligence branch, we eliminated Ali Shadmani, the war chief of staff, the most senior military commander of the Iranian regime. Shadmani only managed to hold the position for 4 days, and we also eliminated him. We will pursue our enemies again and again using advanced intelligence capabilities, exploiting opportunities, air superiority, and complex operational planning.
Israeli fighter jets also launched a wave of targeted airstrikes deep into Iranian territory, including a shocking strike on Iran's state broadcaster headquarters in Tehran during a live transmission. The anchor on air was seen scrambling for cover as fire engulfed the studio. Flames consumed the building, and the aftermath was nothing short of catastrophic. A senior reporter for Iran's IRIB news agency stood outside the burning headquarters with hands stained with blood. The reporter was heard saying that Israel would not achieve anything by this attack and that they will see worse.
This appalling attack constitutes a blatant war crime and a direct assault on press freedom. The Israeli regime has once again demonstrated that it is the foremost enemy of truth. It holds the disgraceful record of being the world's leading perpetrator of violence against journalists and media professionals.
Smoke rised from a highway near Saveh in southwest of Iranian capital Tehran. Large plumes of smoke could be seen in the video as Israeli intensified airstrikes across Iran. Iran too is hitting back with a wave of ballistic missile strikes on Israel. Massive smoke cloud was seen billowing from a site in central Israel city following an Iranian missile attack. Israeli teams are working to extinguish fire at site after Iranian missile attack. As fighting between Israel and Iran escalates, citizens of both countries have been forced to flee the war zone and take refuge in bomb shelters. Bureau Report, India Today.
But what has been very noticeable since day one is how Israel has decided to go ahead with precise strikes and high-profile targets from the military of Iran. What does this mean? On top, remember, let's go one by one. Major General Hossein Salami was on top because he was the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps chief and now stands killed by Israeli strikes. Then came in Major General Mohammad Bagheri, again, Iranian Armed Forces Chief of Staff. This is the latest that has come, the stamp on him neutralized. Major General Ghulam Ali Rashid, Deputy Commander, Iranian Armed Forces, stamp stands neutralized. This is a reminder when the Israel-Hamas war had started, they had gone directly after in precise strikes military commanders. Again, they are repeating this for Iran too. Feridun Abbasi, he's the Iranian nuclear scientist. Remember, for long, Israel has gone after the nuclear program, its scientists, with regard to Iran. And therefore, one of the reasons that if there has been an attack at the vicinity, nuclear scientists have also died. Ali Shamkhani, advisor to Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Al-Khamenei. Right now, the stamp on him stands killed. Israel, while making these claims, are getting corroborated from Iran too. IRGC's Intel Organization's chief, Mohammad Kazemi, also was killed, and these were precise strikes. And when I say precise, I mean in an apartment, that one floor, that specific room has been targeted in Israeli strikes. Mohammad Hassan Mohkar, deputy head IRGC Intel Organization. They are going after intelligence chiefs and commanders. They're going after top military chiefs who are leading the IRGC. Ali Shadmani, Iran's Armed Forces Emergency Command Chief, is the latest name that has come in. You can see how these are not just simply any commanders handling a certain corps. They are going after the top chiefs, and that clearly is to dismantle and handicap the military of Iran. What does it look like on the 5th day of the conflict? I want to now take you through all the details that are coming in. Tensions between two Gulf nations are on a high. The latest coming in, look at this dramatic video, captures the moment. A strike hit a building near a busy road in Isfahan. This is in Iran. Footage shows a projectile falling and followed by a powerful explosion that sends debris flying, causing panic among pedestrians and more. So these are the impact of the strikes that are happening. And let's listen in what's happening. A cloud of black smoke engulfing Herzliya. This is in central Israel. This morning, following yet another barrage of attacks from Iran. So if you saw what's unfolding in Iran, Israel is not having it better. Of course, Iron Dome has been able to intercept a lot of missile attacks, but air raid sirens through the city can be heard. Residents scrambling for cover in the bunkers. In the aftermath, there have been damaged buses, gaping craters that were spotted in a parking lot near the source of the smoke. Staying with Israel, this is Tel Aviv. Air raid sirens continue, jolting residents awake and into shelters late into the night. Iranian strikes continue to target the capital city of Israel. Let's listen in to the air raid sirens. Let me now take you to Iran again. Look at this. Kara-Shalus Road heading westward from Tehran. Hundreds of vehicles jam-packed in a gridlock. This is a traffic snarl that has happened. Remember, many citizens are attempting to flee the war zone. Unlike the intercepting defense mechanisms that Israel has, Iran doesn't have that. There have been a lot of damage that has been seen in different parts of Iran. Across the border, Iraqis gather to protest the ongoing Israeli airstrikes on Iran. This has been Israel's most extensive aerial assault to date against Iran directly now. There has been support coming in from Baghdad. India today has been consistently tracking about what's happening in Iran and Israel. This is not just about two countries. This can engulf other nations, and of course, it's about the safety of Indians too in both Israel and Iran. Joining me, Shivani Sharma, for the latest on that. Shivani, let's go one by one. What are you picking up about the latest developments that are coming in? Do you see any sort of de-escalation in the days to come, or perhaps it's going to be only increasing?
Pooja, what we are seeing is an accelerated targeting by Israel inside Tehran, especially the targeted attacks on the commanders of not only the intelligence but also the wartime commanders. And today, Ali Shadmani has been eliminated. That's what has been the highlight of the day in terms of Israel's attack. And we've also seen that even as we speak in Tehran, there are more missile attacks by Israel, Pooja. And Israel is very clearly saying that it is very focused in its targeting, because it is targeting the officials who are involved in the nuclear projects of Iran. It is targeting the officials of intelligence in Iran. It is targeting the right hand of the supreme leader of Iran. And it says that it's not targeting or engaging with any other targets, including the civilians in Iran. So there is a very focused operation that Israel claims that it is taking on all these officials based on the intelligence inputs that it has been gathering. And it's very significant, Pooja, that in last 5 days, there are several such officials, several such top commanders of Iran's army who have been eliminated by Israel, and it goes on to take this operation further. So we do not see any signs of de-escalation as of now. And adding on to this escalation ladder, we have seen the reactions that have come in from United States. President Donald Trump, who says that Iran must give up. It will come only with an end. So he is expecting a total end.
So what's the
in,
unpredictability and uncertainty coming in about how USA's role could be seen, whether there's going to be a direct military involvement? And I want to now talk about, Shivani, as we put out these names on our screen, these are all top military commanders or advisors to the supreme leader or a nuclear scientist. Why do you think Israel is going after the top military commanders, nuclear scientists, and of the nature that can possibly impact the military of Iran?
See, Israel has been very clear when it started the Operation Rising Lion. It was very clear that it wanted Iran to just decentralize or to stop the nuke efforts that it has been making. And it is being said that the nuclear program of Iran was quite close to completion. And that's why Israel chose to attack only those officials who were associated to that project. And that's why the first day we saw that 4 important nuclear sites were targeted by Israel. The officials, the commanders who were managing these sites, they were neutralized and eliminated. And the commanders of the military, the top aides of the supreme leader of Iran have been chosen to be neutralized or eliminated. That's what the Israelis have been claiming, that they just want Iran to stop its nuke power or nuke efforts. It doesn't want Iran to gather that nuclear project or power that US also says is very close, that was very close to completion. So that was the issue, and that is why Israel purposely, focusedly chose these officials, the top commanders, not only of the Iran's military, but also the scientists who were involved with the nuclear projects in Iran. Pooja.
Shivani, stay on with me, because as we go in detail about what precisely is the impact here, I want to tell you about the nuke facilities. Because remember, Israel may not have acknowledged, even though there is a speculation they have nuclear arsenal, but Iran has. We know about the arsenal and the facilities. And that is why what you see on your screens is very important. These are different locations where either believed to be or has been confirmed that the vicinity of the nuclear facilities of their program where Iran has set it up has been hit. Now, Natanz, for example, is very specific one. Khontab 2, Isfahan, again, damage has been seen. Fordo is going to be very interesting. Largely for now, according to our research, it suggests that it's been largely undamaged. However, there's been an attempted strike, and it could be very important. Experts have also said that you could need help from the United States of America and their arsenal to be able to hit Fordo if required. So the clarity not coming in about the kind of damage that has been impacted on Fordo. And then there is Tehran Research Center. But you know of the casualties that have happened of nuclear scientists. You know that the vicinity, at least on the first 2, have been hit most definitely. Now, like I mentioned Fordo to you, why could that be difficult as a strike even for Israel, even though they have been attempting it? One, it's a nuke facility that is deep into the mountain, into the territory, has a lot of underground structures as well, buried 80 meters underground. Israel would need the United States of America's assistance, which means basically their arsenal, their aircrafts and more to be able to strike. Does the USA want to get involved, even though it has been an arch rival with Iran, to provide military support to Israel and then get into the war directly. It is basically, to tell you, USA's GBU-57 bunker busters that might be of help. But what if that's not enough either? Israel can try and strike the ventilation facilities. All of this is important for you to understand because it looks like for Israel, their nuke facilities are a direct target. For Iran, they've been after their nuclear program. Israel and other countries in the region, in the United States of America, in Europe, believe that they do not want Iran to have their nuclear program. Iran, meanwhile, has now said that they want to become a part of what the wider range discussions have been. We have some news coming in. Let's take a look at that. Israel's defense minister says the military will attack significant targets in Tehran today. Are we expecting in the next few hours heightened developments to come in from West Asia region, specifically with regard to how Israel is going to go after not only military nuclear targets, but much more and much worse? Israel's defense minister is warning Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, and this is a big statement. Israel's defense minister warns Khamenei, saying you could end up like Saddam Hussein, the border country. And of course, history knows what happened to Saddam Hussein, but also that had a lot to do with the United States of America. I want to quote first. The defense minister of Israel says, remember what happened to the dictator in the country. Neighboring Iran also took this path against the state of Israel. So therefore, this is a direct warning that is coming in. And I want to go across to Pranay Upadhyay for the latest on that, our editor in Today Global. Pranay, that's a direct warning that is coming in about what does it look like on the ground. Because as we look at these visuals on your screens, the escalation is very clear. We are looking at direct hits when it comes to Iranian territory, especially with their nuke facilities and more. But with this warning, as missiles are pounding Iran, and there have been definitely escalated casualties as well, not just high-profile targets, but more. Israel has added that possibly it's not even looking at a mediation. According to our sources and news reports coming in, that Iran has offered to be a part of mediation if required. Pranay continues to be with us. Pranay, this is a direct warning from Israel. Khamenei could end up like Saddam Hussein. What do you think is the reason that Israel would use this tone right now against Iran?
Pooja, if you see right from the beginning of this conflict and this beginning of the Israeli airstrike, Israel has been maintaining this pitch that they are for a bigger change. Even the US President Donald Trump has indicated that he wants end and a complete end. So these the use of this phraseology, the use of these words, clearly giving an indication that US and Israel want to have a bigger change there. And the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also said clearly in an interview yesterday that if the need arises, they are ready to take out Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as well. This is a bigger threat for Iran and Iran's dispensation. On the other side, Iran has also threatened. So right now, besides the rhetorics coming out of either side, but there is also intensification of conflict right now. What we are getting to reports from either sides, and the various news outlets reporting from Israel as well as Iran, that there is an intensification of fight. The Israelis are dominating the airspace in Iran, and most of the air defense batteries has also been neutralized in Iran. However, the Iranians are also responding back. Iran has carried out certain missile strikes just a while ago also, and the Iranians are claiming that they have targeted the Mossad headquarters. All these tall claims we are getting right now that this conflict, this war is intensifying, and we are not looking at an immediate end right now. So this is the more worrisome trend at a time when the US president went back to Washington DC. He will be holding a security analysis with his security advisor in this White House Situation Room. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the G7, and G7 has also given out a statement. So this is
I want to add here and ask you about the Situation Room that Donald Trump will be in. Is it just posturing, do you think, to look like he's supervising, handling everything? Or are we expecting something big, as Donald Trump says?
If you go by President Donald Trump's words, Pooja, he has already said that be ready for something big, a really big thing. What that big thing could be, we do not know. But he has already indicated while traveling back on Air Force One, while interacting and taking questions from the media personals, he said that I am looking at an end and a complete end and denuclearization of Iran. If that is the case, how can US or Israel or a joint campaign can denuclearize Iran? For that, you have to carry out bigger and a widespread bombing. We also have our own concerns since about 10,000 Indians are there in Iran. We are also looking at a situation where we might have to relocate our embassy from Tehran to a safer place. We have already asked Indians and also people of Indian origin to leave Tehran. Even President Donald Trump has asked civilians to leave Tehran. So something big they are certainly up to, and when he goes to situation...
It is brewing, Pranay.
Yeah.
And it looks like in the next few hours we'll be tracking every side, whether Israel, Iran, USA, Europe. There clearly, remember, could be involvement of other countries as well. So we'll be tracking that as more. Pranay, thank you very much for now. I want to bring in this telecast on 5 Live, Sandeep Unnithan, who's been tracking the Middle East, West Asia for years now. And Sandeep, when a statement like this, let's go one by one, when a statement like this comes in from Israel's minister to remind us about Saddam Hussein, are we looking at a regime change? Because what I find interesting is, do they think people of Iran could support Israel if they've been against Khamenei? And because we've seen a lot of protests in Iran. So do you think this could be a multi-layered posturing approach that Israel is attempting right now as a threat?
Absolutely, Pooja. In fact, Israel's goal from day one, when it began this bombing campaign last Friday, seems to have been regime change. Because the kind of intensity of the strikes, the number of attacks, and the leadership targets that were being eliminated, these are all possible candidates who could rise up in the ranks of Iran. They were taken out, scientists, military figures, Republican Guard figures, Iranian IRGC figures, military officials. And now the big question is whether they will actually try and assassinate Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. That would be a very, very big escalation indeed. And Israel is possibly using this window of opportunity provided by the IAEA statement, which says that Iran has started enriching uranium to bomb-grade levels as a casus belli to launch these attacks that it did last Friday. So the statement about comparing Iran's fate to that of Saddam Hussein is also very significant because Saddam Hussein he survived the 1991 Gulf War crisis when the coalition forces ejected him from Kuwait but did not unseat his regime. But that happened 12 years later in 2003 when the United States launched a coalition attack against Iraq. They unseated Saddam Hussein, and of course he was captured and he was hanged in 2006. So this is Israel clearly signaling to the people of Iran that they must rise. It's a very tough and a very tall order, Pooja, because it's very difficult to effect regime change from the air. You can drop all manner of ordnance and missiles and drone attacks and kill leadership figures, but until the time that you actually have boots on the ground, that you have a military force that moves into a country, physically occupies it, defeats the enemy armies, you're not going to be able to effect regime change. So Israel is probably trying a different strategy here by carrying out this wave of bombings, by killing a lot of these significant figures, weakening the Iranian regime to a point where it hopes that it will actually collapse under its own weight. So this is clearly wait and watch, and we have to see from the statements that are coming out about something big that's being predicted for the next couple of hours. It shows that Iran is possibly on a razor's edge in the next few hours, Pooja.
Very important point. I'm wondering if you're looking at repeat of 1979, so to say, Iranian revolution, the Pahlavi dynasty was overthrown. Then are we looking at Khamenei, if not assassinated, to be overthrown? Can that happen that easily? And a very good point that Sandeep made about why the military targets are on agenda for Israel right now. Let's listen in, and Sandeep, please stay on with me. Listen in to the Israel minister who sent out that morning to Khamenei to say, you could have a fate like Saddam Hussein.
אני מזהיר את הדיקטטור האיראני מהמשך ביצוע פשעי מלחמה וירי טילים לעבר אזרחי ישראל. כדאי שיזכור מה עלה בגורלו של הדיקטטור במדינה השכנה לאיראן שהלך בדרך הזאת נגד מדינת ישראל. אנחנו נמשיך גם היום לפעול נגד יעדי משטר ויעדים צבאיים בטהרן, כפי שעשינו אתמול מול רשות שידורי התעמולה וההסתה.
It's not just Iran-Israel conflicts. There are Indians in both countries who are also currently stranded, specifically medical students who are being evacuated from one location to another. 10,000 people in total. However, many of them are students in medical or religious institutions. We're now told India has started the mission evacuation. Many students have been moved. Evacuations are underway. In this report, find out about how India is again attempting this mission and how difficult this is turning out to be too.
Missiles raining down. Cities in flame. Death toll rising each hour. Iran and Israel locked in an all-out war. And India has mounted a mammoth exercise to save its citizens stranded in war zone. Moving Indians, mostly students away from war-torn Iranian cities, to safety. Indian students in Tehran have been relocated to the city of Qom, 148 kilometers away from the capital. The Indian embassy, working with Iranian authorities, is executing the evacuation. In a separate operation, 110 Indian students, many from Kashmir, studying in Urmia University, crossed into Armenia. They were taken to capital Yerevan, from where they will board special evacuation flight to Delhi on Wednesday.
अभी के लिए हम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से यही रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि वो हमारी जो इवैक्यूएशन है वो फैसिलिटेट कराए जल्द से जल्द, क्योंकि एयरपोर्ट्स बंद है अभी, एयर स्पेस बंद है अभी ईरान की, लेकिन हम जो बाई रोड रूट है उससे अगर हमारी इवैक्यूएशन फैसिलिटेट होती है तो वो एक बेटर ऑप्शन रहेगा और उस वजह से हमारी जो फैमिलीज़ है वो भी थोड़ा स्ट्रेस उनका रिड्यूस हो जाएगा.
आई एम इन द Qom, which is a city situated 150 kilometers from Tehran. We have been relocated today from the Indian embassy to this city, which is the most important religious state for the Iran and the Iranian people. You can see the deserted roads due to the recent escalations between Israel and Tehran. Due to these escalations, our Kashmiri students got injured yesterday. That's why the embassy relocated us to this place.
Iran had on Monday agreed to open its land borders to evacuate stranded foreign nationals. Iran's borders with Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan and Afghanistan serving as exit points from war zone. Meanwhile, the wait is painful for families of stranded Indians who are praying for their safe return. But unlike India's Operation Ganga in Ukraine, there is no mass airlift this time, as airspaces are closed and there is no sign of a ceasefire. With hazardous land routes and a war which has no let-up, India faces immense logistical hurdles in bringing close to 10,000 Indians home. The focus now is on small, steady extractions, one border, one bus, one student at a time. For those stranded, every mile matters and every safe return is a victory. Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining me now on 5 Live are two young Indian students who've been evacuated to a safer location at least. They're from Jammu Kashmir. Kashif Mukhtar and Enaf Ishaq are joining me. Thank you to both of you. Where were you when this war started, the strikes began? What did you see around you? And I hope you're safe now. Where are you presently?
We are from Shahid Vishti University of Medical Sciences, Tehran. Yesterday, we have been relocated in this city, Qom, which is comparatively safer than Tehran, but it's not that it is risk-free. The risk is also here. We have been seeing the Israeli airstrikes, the destructive airstrikes. Before some days, we saw our Kashmiri students got injured due to the airstrikes on their hostel building. It's not completely safe in Tehran. In Tehran, it's devastating. Our neighborhoods are getting bombed every second.
Wow. Are you in touch with the Indian Embassy, Kashif? What are you picking up about the movement, coordination? What is happening?
Currently, we are in the Kumbh, and we are being in the constant touch with the Indian Embassy, and they are coordinating with us every time, and every step has been coordinated to us.
That's good to know. So from Tehran to the Qom city, which is also a pilgrimage city and where you are presently, how many students are we talking about who are either evacuated, need to be evacuated? What is the number we are looking at?
More than 400 students are stranded here, and from the other universities also, approximately in the Kumbh, in this city, 1,000 students, Indian students, are stranded here. And from other universities, one university, namely Urmia University, their students have crossed the border through Armenia, and they are flying back home tomorrow.
So some of them who have moved to Armenia, they've been able to cross the land border. What have you been promised? Any next step that you've been told about?
Currently, we have been staying here. We have no further notice what to do. We have been told that you have to stay in the Kumbh until the next orders from the Indian Embassy.
Kashif or Ishan, if you can tell me about the situation that you saw around you, situation presently. Tell us to the viewer watching here in India right now, what is happening on the ground?
While we were staying in the Tehran, the situation there was very devastating, as Israel was continuously targeting the buildings, the apartments, and the hostels of the students. So it was very frightening for us. We had been here to complete our dreams to become doctors, but now we are packing our bags and going back home. All the dreams are hanging in the uncertainty.
I totally understand. Must be a lot of uncertainty right now around you. There have been parents who are worried. Any message that you want to send out to the family members, to the government leaders watching? What needs to be done right now, especially for those stranded in Iran?
We just want to say that to the Indian government that the evacuation program must be ensured full safely, and to all the parents say that those who are hearing me, we are safe in the Kumbh as compared to the Tehran. The Tehran was more destructive. In here we are safe, but we should have been evacuated in the time.
Kashif, enough. Thank you for speaking to India today. Good to know that you're safe, and in the days to come, I'm sure you will find yourself safer in locations and will be able to return to your studies. Thank you for speaking to India today. Many students from JNK especially are part of the medical colleges, and you listened to at least 2 of them. I'm wrapping up the 5 Live. Thank you so much for staying tuned. But